This beautiful Monday evening. Thank you for joining me, folks. I am very excited that you are all here. We're going to be doing some Q&As today. I'm very excited about that. You guys know I love hearing from you. So right now, if you're looking to participate, you got to be in the Rumble chat. We are available right now on 2 different streams. I'm on the Brianna Morello Show website for Rumble. I guess it would most of you folks probably just call it a page, of course, the channel. And then we're also over at Dear America. So lots going on today. I'm sure you all saw a lot of the news. We're trying to break it as quick as we can. It's, and I joke when I say it, but I always say it's a slow news day. But it's not that slow. Lots of things going on right now. So we're excited that you guys are all on board. So I've been, kind of alluding to it throughout the day. And we're going to talk about it in a little bit. Let me get this stream going, though, right now. I know a lot of you guys were wondering what was going on today. Now, as many of you guys probably saw, President Trump just brokered a peace agreement, a ceasefire, I guess I should say for now, between both Israel and Iran. I'm going to be detailing for all of that in just a few moments. Plus, it's such a strange thing. But apparently everyone cares about who Elon Musk follows on X. I didn't know that was a thing until today, while a U.S. I guess just U.S. I can't even speak. A U.S. military base. Sorry, guys, it's a Monday. We don't normally do these things. In Qatar was under attack by Iran. I got an email from a CNN reporter today wondering my take on Elon Musk unfollowing me. I'll detail that for you in just a few moments. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, but it's expected. You and I both know that these mainstream media reporters don't really actually do much in the way of reporting. They are, unfortunately, just a bunch of deep state hacks who just operate at the request of their supervisors. And so a lot going on there. Folks, we're waiting for the push notifications to go out right now. I noticed they haven't gone out yet in Rumble, but that will be very, very soon. So bear with us because I know I want to make sure everyone is in the chat. We don't normally do these on Mondays. As many of you guys know, the show is usually on Thursdays. We're still going to do a show on Thursdays. Just think this is like a bonus episode at this point. So we're very excited. We're also, again, on the Dear America channel right now over at Rumble. And I think we're also streaming on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. Folks, YouTube, we're trying to give it a shot. Hope for the best. But again, yes, we are live on YouTube right now. So that should be pretty good. That just recently started. Again, we're working on it. We're trying to expand our horizons. Now, most of you guys know I don't do the whole social media censorship campaign stuff. I tried my best to avoid it, but folks, you can't avoid it. You can't. And it's very unfortunate. But, you gotta kind of just deal with it at this point. I tried my very best to work on the platforms that you and I always talk about. Why is Twitter is so strange? I just looked right now, and the restream title is just not correct. Producer Pete, as many of you guys know, is off today. I don't bother him when we do these streams. I like to just give him some alone time. He's got kids. He's got a kid, I should say. Second one on the way. So, why bother the guy? Leave him alone. That's how I feel about it. So I try my best to do that. So today it's me punching the show. Bear with me. I'm a special person, technologically not advanced, if that's the way to say it. Barely getting by, but here we are today. My expertise is just journalism and cooking, obviously, too. And Gia's joining the show, too, today. You might see her pop her little face in every now and then. She wants to beg for attention. And if you want to beg for attention right now, you got to head on over to our Rumble page because right now we're going to go live on that at this very second. Let's turn that up because I'm trying my very best to make sure everyone is locked and loaded in today's show. Look at that. That is our Rumble chat. Again, folks, we are available on both channels. So let me just type in because we got people watching right now in Dear America. So listen, if you're in Dear America, welcome to the show. I'm going to try to flip back and forth, but the main chat over at the Brianna Morello Show page. So give that a follow. So many incredible people are going to be jumping on with us in just a few moments. I'm excited for this. But as we mentioned, apparently, and I had a feeling, but apparently what you saw today going on in Qatar over at the U.S. military bases was just for show. Obviously, Qatar had to, although Iran had to kind of answer back after Iran. I keep messing this up. See, I'm not a good multitasker, folks. Barely getting by when it comes to multitasking. This is why Pete is so critical to the show. But I also wanted to tell you guys that I had a gut feeling today. right? We're talking about what was taking place in Qatar. I had a gut feeling today that that was well orchestrated and it wasn't meant to take lives. Because obviously, if you're Iran, you don't want to get into a war with the United States. You were going to try your very best to deflect. Wow, you guys are so sweet right now. If you're in the Rumble chat, hello, hello, hello. Very, very sweet. I'm trying my best to keep up with you guys, but take a look at here. Lurk Bat just gifted 10 subscriptions. So thank you very much. I was very, very kind, very, very sweet of you to do just that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone who's in the Rumble chat, welcome. Folks, if you're not doing so yet, you got to head on over to our show page, The Brianna Morello Show. Give us a follow there. Also, we're going to talk about, obviously, Iran and what's going on there. But we got to talk about the FBI whistleblowers because, folks, I've had enough. I've had enough. As many of you guys know, we're friends. They're friends of this show. I certainly do love Garrett O'Boyle, Steve Friend, two patriots, and you know we've had enough. We've had enough. They still have not received their jobs back. You know I'm not okay with that. We're going to call it out. We're going to go into details about that because there's a lot of things that I'm hearing. There's a lot of rumors going around, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be called out. We cannot sit here and allow people when they step up to the plate to go out there and call it the corruption that they see. We can't allow it just to go punished by the regime. So we're going to call that out tonight. Lots going on. We're not going to hold back. I know a lot of us, you know, I obviously supported Trump, voted for Trump, supported Patel when he was nominated to be the FBI director and was like heavily endorsing him on X. Dude, what's going on? It's so crazy to me, right? This is the one thing that day one should have been corrected. And it's crazy because Patel is friends with Steve Friend and Garrett O'Boyle. And so I'm going to detail that for you just a few moments. It's like completely mind-blowing. Again, if you want to contribute to today's discussion, you gotta be in the Rumble chat. That's where we're at. And a lot's going to be going on. If you have a question, we're going to be taking those at the end of this. I got to jump off at like 7:50-ish because we're going to hop on over to the Blaze. I will be on the mandate tonight, detailing a lot going on. So that's going to be exciting. You know, I love to join in studio my good friends over at the Blaze. All right. So it's so stupid. It's so stupid, folks. I have to like just call it out because it's laughable, but it's stupid. Okay, so earlier today, I'm probably sure you saw it because I saw it. We were talking about what was taking place on the U.S. military bases in Qatar. Obviously, Iran had to strike back. You can't just sit there and you can't just allow two countries to just bomb you and you don't answer back. So it makes sense that the ceasefire took place after what happened on those bases. Again, Iran, not really. I mean, I'm shocked, to be fair. I mean, I thought they were a little bit more advanced than what we just saw. Apparently, they're not at all, which is shocking. Okay. We're going to get into this in a minute because this is interesting, as many of you guys know. But first, before I dive into that, want to remind you all, independentnewsroom.com. That is my exclusive free newsletter. You got to head on over there right now. Hit that subscribe button. You can sign up for free. If you want to donate directly to the show, though, you could do that as well. We have the paid option, the free option. I don't want to charge you for the news. I feel like everyone should have access to these exclusive stories because the mainstream media is not going to tell you about that. So I try my best to keep things free. But listen, folks, we are a show. We do have expenses, and I'm trying to expand. I get like 5 to 6 at least tips a day. It's a bit overwhelming. The vetting process is extensive. We're trying to hire more people to handle it. I know a lot of you guys get a little frustrated. You're like, I gave you a tip. The investigation side to all of this takes hours and hours to do. So we're slowly going through it all, but I'd love to hire more staff. So if you want to contribute to my work as an independent journalist, head on over right now, independentnewsroom.com. You could join the free email list, or you can become a paid subscriber, or if you want to just donate to the show, you can do just that. We've got that set up for you as well over at Donor Box, but it's on the Independent Newsroom website. Donor Box, safe and secure. You can pick a monthly donation or a one-time donation, up to you. Just make sure you check off the right one. So let's talk about stupidity because we don't highlight that enough. I do. I love calling it out. I actually think it's a hobby of mine to call out all of the, I can't say the R word. I was told not to say the R word. So we're going to say all the stupidity We'll keep it friendly. Lots of stupid things happening in the world, but they're really all taking place on the cable news world. And we have people who are disguising themselves as journalists, pretending to be journalists, but they've never actually broken a real story because they are part of the mainstream media, the censorship campaign. They don't actually do real journalism. You and I both know this. Uh, they are just folks. They are just. I don't know how anyone could work for an outlet like CNN. Like, truthfully, how do you even do that? Um, they censor you. You can't cover stories that are of quality. You're lying to the American people. You're not a journalist. But this girl, she seemed a little nice. Okay, so she sends me an email. This is a so-called CNN journalist, and she's a reporter with CNN. And this is while Iran is trying to bomb our military base in Qatar. Okay. I get this email at the same time, and you just have to like wonder. I get that they have multiple reporters, folks. I've worked in news forever, but the reality of it is like, why the is Elon Musk your focus? I'm a reporter for CNN. I saw Elon Musk unfollowed you on X recently. Wanted to see if you had any idea why, or if there's some backstory. Happy to speak background as well. Background means give her the information, and she will not say she got it from me. Folks, who gives? I get it, right? Elon Musk, the richest man allegedly in the world. I respect for what he's done for Twitter. If he wants to unfollow people, unfollow him. I don't care. He unfollowed a bunch of people. Listen, I love the fact that he bought X. Big fan of that. If something strikes a nerve with him, then do what you gotta do, dude. That's my advice. But it's just so frustrating, right? Because you're like, how the heck is CNN really prioritizing this? Any sane person would say that. But they are. But they are. All right, let's turn up the chats because again, a lot going on right now over at Rumble. So let's take a look at the chat. Again, producer Pete not here, just me. So here goes the camera. Right on cue. It always does this. It bounces right back. I don't know why it does this, guys. It only does it when we're live. And guess what? It doesn't do it when we're pre-taping a show. So that's the thrill of all of this is when it shuts down for a couple of seconds and then it goes back up. But we're back up. Don't ask why. I wanted to kind of go through it all because again, we just have to like keep calling it out. I don't understand why our media continues to do all of this. I don't understand. It's a bit frustrating. These people are like pathological liars. Have anyone ever noticed? Full of, I was told not to curse. I've been told not to curse. I've been told to be nice. And I know. I tried. The good friend of the show, Toolman Tim, over with Louder with Crowder, he actually is a sweetheart. So he actually helped us, helped me, I should say, trying to work on the studio stuff. So I'm going to break his heart when I tell him the camera's still not working. But again, yeah, we're on YouTube. Who would have known? Who would have known that we were available on YouTube? Looks like we'll have Owen Schroyer jumping on in a minute. See, this is the problem with live streams, folks. It requires multitasking, and your girl, not the ideal multitasker, but we make it work. Okay, I've got to go send Owen a link. As many of you guys saw, you probably saw Owen's been like a hothead right now when it comes to the topic. I love it. He's fired up. He's going viral. So we're going to have him on the show in just a second. Let me just go DM him right now, our link, so he could jump on the show with us today. Again, producer Pete not here. It's a one-man band kind of day today. So we're going to make it work. I'm excited, of course. I'm very, very excited. So Owen Schroyer joining me in just a few moments. Also, folks, again, independentnewsroom.com. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, make sure you do just that. We'll be taking questions at the end of the program. So make sure you tune in. Owen Schroyer jumping on in just a few moments. Let me make sure I have that up and running because we are using Restream today. So I've got a lot to learn about all of that. But I'm very excited that you guys are here today. A lot going on in the world, a lot going on. I can't believe we just witnessed all of this going down. I knew, obviously, President Trump. I had confidence in it. Was just a little nervous, a little scared, not going to lie. I know many of you at home were a little on edge too, because we don't like the never-ending wars. And we know that we voted for President Trump because of that. So the fact that he was able to broker this deal, let's see how this goes. Let's see. I was also on, and I'm going to be on the Blaze tonight talking about the sleeper cells that we all were talking about. I know many of us were a little fearful. I actually spoke to an FBI source. He's retired now, so he's not with the agency anymore, and he's actually a trusted individual. And his advice was just this. He said, the sleeper cell thing, not really a big deal. He honestly doesn't think, and sleeper cell, besides just a regular terrorist, right? Sleeper cell is someone who is trained by the government. And so he thinks that it's overblown and that we shouldn't be on edge about it. That's what his advice to me was. He's the expert. You know, he's ran the division over at the FBI in regards to these terrorist attacks, the terrorism division. So he's my go-to source of this information. But interesting enough, he said that don't be fearful of the sleeper cell narrative. He said that it's really, really difficult, and it's very rare too for these governments, like the Iranian government, to send a trained individual into our country. He doesn't really think that that's the case. I would disagree with that because I feel like a lot of these countries that hated us saw that we had open borders for 4 years and would send in their worst. But again, he's just saying that the FBI, and you see the FBI statements, right? The FBI is out here saying we're monitoring these sleeper cells. I mean, how absurd is that? But he made a great point when he told me this. He said, Brianna, they're monitoring them, which tells you everything you need to know. Because guess what? When they say that they're monitoring them, they're watching them. And so he thinks that this could actually be used as the excuse to go out there, and get this, folks, to go out there and to justify becoming more of a surveillance state, your privacy rights being taken away. And I don't even understand why we're saying that we're just monitoring these terrorists, right? Like, wouldn't you just arrest them, have ICE detain them, and then ship them out of our country? Well, one would assume that would be the case, wouldn't that? So very, very interesting. My good friend telling me all of this, telling me, don't worry, Brianna, don't worry. I worry though. I worry. When I saw the attacks that were taking place on Saturday, obviously I'm confident in President Trump. I just, when it comes to sleeper cells, it's my big fear, especially I'm now in Texas. And folks, I've been following all of the Muslim compounds, as we like to call them, that are popping up all over the state. And so we'll see. Maybe my source at the FBI is right. He usually is, though. He's a really, really reliable source. So we'll see how that all plays out. But interesting enough, folks, we learned today President Trump getting Iran, getting Israel to the table, agreeing to a ceasefire. Necessary. You know, we believe in peace on this show, especially. So we'll see how that works. What a crazy, crazy, what was it? 12 days? 12 freaking days of this. So World War III looks like it's on pause for now, for the time being. Folks, if you haven't done so already, you got to head over to independentnewsroom.com. I keep talking about it. But the reality of it is this. There is going to be tons of exclusive stories that I'm working on dropping on this platform you see right here. It's free, independentnewsroom.com. Hit that subscribe button, enter your email address, or if you'd like, you could donate to the show directly. This is the best platform to do just that. A lot of other platforms take a massive cut. This is our most reliable place to go. Independentnewsroom.com. You could donate or you could become a subscriber. Totally up to you. It's free unless you'd like to help us out. And we rely on you guys all at home. And it's interesting because I'm always telling people, I'm like, you know, the process before running an exclusive story, like, do you know what it entails? Like, I've got to go run it by a lawyer most of the time. And we've been dropping bombshell stories, I should say. So you got to head on over, independentnewsroom.com, sign up, subscribe. You won't regret it. I can promise you that much. All right, guys, Owen Schroyer joining us in just a few moments. We're waiting on him. He's going to give us a hot take, I'm sure, in just a few moments. Communicating with him. Producer Pete not here today, so we're doing this manually. I am the one, the brains, and also the mouthpiece behind the operation today. So bear with me. But again, Owen Schroyer joining us in just a few moments. Again, if you're in the Rumble chat, thank you for being there. I know a lot of you guys joining us for the first time, and that's exciting. We're both on the Dear America chat as well as the Brianna Morello chat. The Brianna Morello one is the main one for today's show, this stream. So you got to be over there right now. Give us a follow. Again, we're also right now on Dear America. You know, I love teaming up with Graham Allen and the whole team over at Dear America. So we're very thankful for the opportunity to collaborate. Last week, I was actually on their morning show, and it was very, very fascinating. Those guys are kicking butt. Graham Allen was actually over at the DoD for a little bit, and then he stepped away and came back into the podcasting world. We're very excited to have him back. But he's got a lot of insight on these issues. And so it's interesting. I follow him on X, as many of you guys do, and on Instagram. It's very interesting to hear his takes on a lot of this. So if you hadn't done so already, make sure you give the Dear America page a follow as well. All right, guys, just a few moments. Owen Schroyer joining the program. Obviously, President Trump announcing earlier today, just I'd say about an hour and a half ago, the agreement of a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. It's interesting, right? Because we have his True Social post. Let me get that up on the screen for you guys. The president coming out and saying this, he wanted to congratulate everyone. They have fully agreed between Israel and Iran that there would be a complete and total ceasefire. It's interesting. I remember when President Trump said that there wasn't an option for a ceasefire. I believe it was the leader over in France, Macron, who suggested it, and he shot that down completely. So things are changing. Things are changing. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think Iran was going to be this bad, right? Like they weren't even able to respond. They didn't even detect our forces in their air zones. And the worst part about it too, folks, what happened today in Qatar? I mean, it's not even the worst thing. I shouldn't say it like that. That's my sarcasm kicking in, but it's not the time for sarcasm. What happened today in Qatar? The New York Times is reporting that Qatar and Iran kind of orchestrated that together. Again, I just think that they were like, we have to answer back, but we don't want to appear weak. But I mean, folks, their response, completely out of this world. I, like many of you, had no idea this was going to happen. I have faith in President Trump, but folks, I just hate the idea of massive casualties potentially. So I just try to avoid all of that. But I wasn't like everyone. And it's I'm going to be direct. Listen, ceasefire, we'll take it. We'll take it. Gia's also here tonight, and as you could hear, she is very, very vocal. She side. What did you say? Oh, Gia. She sides with whoever's going to give her treats. My little chunky joining the show today. Gia, she's running out of here. She's had enough. Owen Schroyer joining the show in just a few moments. We're looking forward to that. If you guys haven't done so already, got to follow Owen on X. His page has been blowing up. He actually, let's pull up his page. This dude's going viral every day now. You know, I remember there was a time where I actually had a much larger following than he did. And this guy blowing up. So he'll be joining us in just a few moments. It's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. I know a lot of you at home were like me. We're all on edge, but we're confident. We were confident in President Trump, and it looks like he's getting the job done. And if it's true, I know a lot of people are a little skeptical. If it's true that Saturday's attacks that were led by the United States completely wiped out their 3 nuclear plants, we'll see. We'll see. We haven't really heard much on that. And so I think it's going to be interesting. So we will see about that. Again, folks, independentnewsroom.com. I, the other day, actually reported, I don't know if you guys saw it at home, we have received a new whistleblower who's sounding the alarm in regards to TSA spying on Americans. They've actually gone around what they shouldn't be doing in the first place. So TSA is obviously not an investigative agency, so they shouldn't be investigating Americans. But for some reason, they are, and they were. Obviously, now President Trump being in the White House, the administration is not going to allow this to continue on, but we're calling it out. As many of you guys know, we called out the Quiet Skies list. That has just been shut down by the administration. We're very, very thankful for that. I also exclusively reported that there were several employees over at TSA who were fired. Those individuals, all a part of the Quiet Skies program. Their roles specifically in it, we don't know. DHS source tells me that they were fired for incompetency, but, and here's the catch, it was all related to Quiet Skies program. I am still suing. I am still suing TSA over that list. It's so crazy to me. But as many of you guys know, if you followed this show, and if you didn't, let me let you like in on a little secret. So I have been following like crazy, the TSA Quiet Skies list. Now, what they did to J6ers is absolutely egregious. As many of you guys know, J6ers were added to this list. And well, we have some idea as to why they were added to this list. So TSA, because they can't investigate things, they actually went out there, it looks like, according to the whistleblower, and they hired a private company. Now, that company went through your social media pages, pulled things down that TSA might find to be concerning, might have resulted in you getting your TSA pre-check yanked. That's according to the whistleblower. Might have resulted in you being added to a terror watch list. And so why? Well, of course, this all happened. It launched under the Obama regime. And it's all a part of their grab for your privacy rights. They don't want you to have privacy. They want to surveil this country. And that's exactly what they're doing. I tell everyone all the time, when you're at TSA, reject the biometrics that they're trying to grab when they ask you to take a photo. Again, it's theft. It is illegal. And they just sit here and they pretend like it's acceptable. They lie to you all the time. They say, oh, no, you have to do it. You don't have to do it. I've read the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act only requires it for non-US citizens. That's why I got into a fight with the customs employee, because he wasn't very happy when I rejected it. I don't care. I don't care. TSA has quickly become the enemy of the American people. I mean, honestly. And when you look at their employees, I mean, they're all just incompetent. They don't even know what they're looking for. They have no freaking idea. They have no freaking idea what they're doing. And I think that's telling in itself, right? Because we sit here, we're constantly looking, and TSA, again, full of people who have actually no idea what they're looking for. They literally have no idea what they're looking for. Folks, right now we're on the Dear America stream channel on Rumble, I should say. Excuse me, I'm like going on like 70 years old and I have no idea what you guys call live streams. And we're also over at the Brianna Morello Show page as well. So make sure you jump into that. We're also on X, and we just started on YouTube. I don't know how long that's going to last, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Censorship, not my thing. I don't partake in it, but we'll see how long they let me go. Right now, it looks like we are not. We're not making it to the algorithm over at YouTube, but we'll keep trying. I'm also now on TikTok, which is kind of crazy. I don't even know how TikTok works, but we're figuring it out. And they're probably like, why, Brianna, are you doing TikTok? CCP, China, I get it. Well, first off, folks, there's a whole generation of young people on TikTok. And like, I just think we are all obligated to reach out to them and try to save them. So that is the reason why I'm there now. Don't want to be, but we have to be. Also, it's going to be sold to an American company, it looks like, potentially. So soon it won't be Chinese owned. Who knows? But they'll probably do some crazy things. Lurkbat, thank you. You've been very, very kind to the stream thus far. You guys, it's so crazy. So we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, a lot going on, a lot happening there. We are waiting. Owen Troy will be jumping into the stream soon, it looks like. He did just reach out. Busy guy. He just came off of his show over at InfoWars, so I know it's going to take some time to jump on with us. But let's talk about the FBI whistleblowers for a little bit, because you guys know this is an issue I'm very passionate about. This is why I'm passionate about it. You know how many people will sit there, journalists they'll cover a story when it's hot, and they'll get all of these sources to come on, talk to them. They love it. Everything's all good. And then so many journalists just walk away when these people need you. Well, I'm not built like the others. If you're somebody who I have had on the show, covered your story, you risk coming out here and talking to me about a certain topic, I'm not going to abandon you in a time of need. And that's the reason why when it comes to the whistleblowers, every single day I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it because, folks, no one else is going to talk about it. Nobody else. I just think it's absolutely egregious that this is how we treat people. As many of you guys know, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But right now, Kash Patel has not brought back the FBI whistleblowers. And obviously, you all know. Kash Patel was someone who fundraised for these people. Deputy Director Dan Bongino donated $5,000 to their fundraising efforts. And so to see this happening now, egregious. It's the easiest victory. It's the easiest victory for the new leadership over at the FBI, except they're not taking it. They're not taking it. And I saw that Kyle Seraphin posted some screenshots of a private conversation between Cash and the three whistleblowers. After being nominated, he did say that we're all coming back to work together. That's according to Kyle Seraphin. The ones looking for work, though, were Steve Friend, Garrett O'Boyle. Garrett O'Boyle, still an employee of the FBI, just hasn't been paid. He's on like 1,001-day suspension. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. But sadly, the new administration carrying out the punishment of the old administration. So very unfortunate, very sad, very heartbreaking. Folks, if you're in the Rumble chat right now, make sure you smash that like button, of course. And if you have a question, we're going to be taking questions towards the end. Okay, so you could drop that in there as well. But again, I'm so disappointed. Let me know what you guys think. If you're in the Rumble chat right now over at the Brianna Morello Show page, specifically the Brianna Morello Show, tell me your thoughts. What do you think about the whistleblowers right now? Drop your comment in there, because I can't believe we're still talking about this. I can't believe I still have to sit here and beg for them to do something, right? Like, I know, I've spoken to attorneys. I know that Director Patel on day one, after being sworn in, could have reinstated Garrett O'Boyle's pay. He just decided not to. Now, obviously, this is not something that he was feeling prior to being sworn in. So what happened? Well, I think that's the most telling part in all of this, right? And you don't hear anyone talking about it. I remember seeing Steve Friend, Garrett O'Boyle doing a lot of Fox News hits, a lot of shows here on Rumble, a lot of high-profile individuals. Where are those people? Come on, talking heads, podcasters. You guys loved having these people on. You loved having these whistleblowers on when they were telling you the truth about the Biden regime. Now all of a sudden you don't want to join them in their fight. As many of you guys know, we had Ed Martin on the show. Ed Martin is the pardon attorney for President Trump. He is also the one leading the weaponization investigations over at the DOJ. Ed came on the show and said I was going to be very happy soon. And I keep driving this point home. This isn't anything to do with Ed. Ed is on our side. Ed loves our whistleblowers. He made that apparent. And this isn't like when Ed came on the show to talk about it, like I didn't have it planned for us to talk about it. He brought it up. And but it wasn't the first time I heard of it. I knew based on my sources in the Senate and then those in the FBI that there was a meeting that took place the day before. And the meeting went well. These guys were supposed to come back on board. Unfortunately, they have not been brought back in. So it's discouraging, yes. But folks, what do you think this means? Right now, if you're in the Rumble chat, drop it in the chat. What do you think this means? Do you just think like the deep state just took over? I mean, I just don't even get it. I mean, Kash Patel literally wrote an entire book about these people. He knew they were monsters. He knew what he was up against. It's the easiest win. If you're not going to bring them back to the FBI, I don't think you even can at this point. If you're not going to bring them back, give them their back pay and let them work for other agencies. Because I know there are other agencies, not even just the DOJ. There are other agencies that would love to have Garrett O'Boyle and Steve Friend on their teams. But guess what? Someone's holding it up. What are your thoughts on Kash Patel thus far? Obviously, the FBI director, and I don't think Dan Bongino's compromised. Fisher of Fish, I should say. I know you just said Bongino and Patel look compromised. I could say this to you. I don't think Dan Bongino does compromise. I don't think you leave a multi-million-dollar deal, step away from that to join the swamp. He had the best intentions. He does. But you're up against the machine. There's probably more bad people there than good people. I saw it firsthand. I know it. And it was like a small, like a small dose of it. So I know that Dan Bongino's up against a lot. And so I'm not going to bash him because I think what he did was went in with the best intentions. But folks, Patel, FBI Director Kash Patel, that's just one that I'm just mind boggled by. Also, I saw over the weekend that there was these reports that the FBI has uh, broken up they've rescued hundreds of kids from sex trafficking. Obviously, that's something that's close to my heart. If you followed me, you know exactly that's the stuff I always constantly report on. But interesting enough, I think it's important to highlight the fact that local police were the ones who really do the bulk of the investigative work on that, and then the FBI just takes credit for it. If you look at the information the press has released, you could just literally follow the agencies that were working beside them. Um, I don't know. What are your thoughts? FBI, good, bad? Yes. Yes. Is it how do you even say it? Tacpidness? I don't even know how you say your username, dude. But I will address this one right now. Podcast Dan lost zero money. His wife has it. Podcast Dan would destroy FBI Dan on this. We disagree. You know what's so crazy? I was actually thinking about that the other day. Right, because obviously you guys know I think highly of Dan Bongino, fellow podcaster here on Rumble. I met him during the RNC. We worked together over at Fox, but not directly. Like I was in the control room. Obviously, he was talent, and so like I want to be as nice as I possibly can. But I was thinking that the other day. I was like, you know what? Before I went off on the whistleblower stories, I'm like, what would podcast Dan Bongino say? And so when I compare it to what he would have said, I think I went pretty easy on these guys. And I think it's interesting. Because I just don't get it. I mean, we literally sat here and listened to Kash Patel talking about how he just wanted to like toss all these guys. And tech goodness. Sorry, I'm a little slow the most. I'm a little slower than most. That's why we keep Ed around. Ed is the one who holds down the fort for us on our streams. So thank you guys. It's a military joke for my career. See, these are the things I wouldn't know. You guys, if you're in the Rumble chat right now, make sure you smash that like button. If you're on YouTube watching, hello. We just tried doing YouTube for the first time. I don't think the title's correct on YouTube right now, but I'll give it a look. We'll see what kind of adjustments you can make. It's like literally my first time on YouTube. We haven't done any live streams on YouTube. I don't think that they're very welcoming of my kind of work, but we've got to like work together. As many of you guys saw, I got unfollowed today by Elon Musk. I didn't realize it until people started tagging me and stuff. What a sad day. Oh, have you guys been following this? I wanted to bring this up. Definitely want to bring this up. It's so bad. Take a look at this. If you haven't yet started following this, there's a horrific, and you probably just shouldn't in general. There's a horrific mayoral race. That's the word. Adulting. Going on right now in New York City, and obviously two horrible candidates, both communists. One's a little less of a communist than the other. You got this guy here, obviously. The we're on YouTube, so I guess I have to be a little cautious. I don't have a dump button. I'm gonna get one of those to keep broadcasting on YouTube. But obviously, folks, we've got Andrew Cuomo, horrible person, killed grandma, grandpa, had no problem doing just that with without restrictions, just forcing these nursing homes to take in COVID patients, right? He's someone now who thinks he's got like a second career now in politics. And so he's going for the New York City race because he knows that the other guy is a complete scumbag communist who's even talking about government-owned supermarkets. Like these people don't even hide who they are. When they tell you who they are, just freaking accept it. I know the radical Islamists love him as well. So we'll see. It's literally just a crapshoot in New York City. And it's unfortunate because it's a beautiful city. I know Eric Adams was actually, I was very supportive of Eric Adams. Very supportive because Eric Adams is a moderate. It's one of the reasons why they went after him. All Democrats in New York corrupt. Don't sit here and think I'm vouching and trying to write off corruption. I'm not. But the reality is all of them are corrupt. So the fact that they went after Eric Adams tells you everything you need to know. Tells you everything you need to know. Folks, if you haven't done so already, independentnewsroom.com. That is my newsletter. We make it like a one-stop shop, right? Because I know a lot of you are like, how can we support the show? I just got an email today too asking me if like I have a PO box or something where they can mail me things. We don't do any of that. But if you guys know, I take off all the right people is how I always phrase it. But ultimately, we don't accept mail, but we do hope that you go over to independentnewsroom.com and support my work as an independent journalist. We are trying to grow the operations. As many of you guys know, I sue the federal government. I don't care what agency it is. If you don't comply with FOIA requests, if you do something that I think is illegal, we're going to sue you. And obviously, folks, it's a process. So if you'd like to support my work as an independent journalist, head on over independentnewsroom.com. You could subscribe. We have a free subscription because I don't want to charge people for the news. I think it's important that you have this information at your fingertips, but we rely on donations. So again, folks, independentnewsroom.com. You can make a one-time donation or a monthly donation. Monthly donations are greatly appreciated because it helps us figure out our budget for the show. So again, independentnewsroom.com, and it's safe and secure. It's done through Donor Box. Again, independentnewsroom.com. And also, I don't know if you guys know, but I keep saying I do a show all the time, every morning, Monday through Friday. We give you the news updates in the morning, audio only, podcasting platforms. Okay, so Owen Shore is going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. We are available on all the podcasting platforms. It is a morning show, so you're going to want to join us. So if you're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever it is, iHeart, we're there. Look up the Brianna Morello Show. That is where you're going to get the news updates that you need to hear about. Because again, the corporate media is too afraid to tell you. I'm not afraid. I'm fearless. I tell people all the time, if we, if a story I'm working on pisses off the wrong person and they try to shut this down, it is what it is. Cadeno just said, is Brianna still part of Citizen Free Press? She mentioned that a while ago. I am friends with Kane. Yes. We haven't done a segment yet with him. Kane's a very busy man. So I'm sure we'll have him on the show again. We do collaborate, obviously. I love collaborating with others. So, it's a good thing. It is a very, very good thing. I'm trying to keep up with it. What you guys are saying in the Rumble chat while we're talking. Multitasking is really it's not my thing, but we try our very best to keep up with it. Folks, if you have any questions, drop them in right now. Rumble, we're going to answer them. Owen Shore joining us in about 15 minutes. We're just going to go through a lot with him. Is it freezing? Folks, let me know. I know it depends sometimes on people. I don't see it freezing. I have like the live shot going up right now. I don't see it freezing up at all. But let me know. Questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the Rumble chat, the Brianna Morello Show. You got to be in the main page to join in on the discussion. We're also obviously Dear America, as many of you guys know. I don't even know what the X chat is, folks. I don't even know what the X chat is. We could try to get that going. Hold on one second. I don't even know how an X chat works. I probably should be popping over there too. Oh, let's hear ya. Did it work? There you go. Loomer fan club. Hi. There you go. I knew I knew something. Oh man. I don't know why so many people are so strange. Some of you are really weird. I get the weirdest emails. I'm just gonna start screenshotting them and then airing people out because like people send the weirdest crap. It's so fascinating to me how weird people are. Again, Not surprising, though. Not surprising. Like today, like someone like you guys just said like the weirdest things, and then it's like, why aren't you responding? Have you tried being normal? I do respond. I do respond. We respond because I've got a team of people who read it over when you send something normal in. But not everyone. Not everyone likes to do that. All right, let's head over to the Rumble chat real quick because Ed, our go-to guy right now. Brianna, do you think Trump knows what's going on with the whistleblowers? As many of you guys know, Ed, I had Chad Prather ask the White House press secretary when he was there. White House press secretary is saying that it's up to Director Patel. Whatever he does, they will get behind. So, you know, it is what it is. We're going to keep pushing though. Because here's my thing, right, folks? I don't care if people don't want to talk about it. I don't care if it burns people in the administration. I don't care if I hurt their feelings or upset because they don't want us talking about these things. I keep getting like other people saying, "Oh, just be, they're our friends." Listen, I still will not have any bad blood with these people, but the reality of it is you can't be quiet on these issues. You can't be. You can't be. When people need your help, you need to speak up for them. And that's exactly what I look forward to doing. Lurkbat, thank you for becoming a monthly supporter. Appreciate you. Folks, you got to head on over. Also, we do X subscriptions too if you want to do that as well. Or you can subscribe over at independentnewsroom.com. Lots of ways to jump on board. We appreciate all of your support, of course, wherever it is. Let's see. Who do you think has been the top 3 most impressive members of Trump's cabinets? So Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, I think is great. When we talk about her role in DNI right now, she actually came in with her own team because you can't trust people around you. They are just all going to work against you. And so I think she understood that. And I think she stepped into this with the right angle. So I'm just going to go with Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard. Those are the only 2 I'm really confident about right now. RFK Jr., haven't really seen much from him. There's little movement. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I keep forgetting Tom Homan, obviously great. Border czar. But man, I mean, you got to expand the immigration courts. We sit here and we talk about mass deportations. Reality of it is all of these illegal aliens who the Democrats intentionally pushed into our country, as you and I both know, they were intentionally put into this country, flooded into this country because the last regime just didn't even, they knew what they were doing. They knew that the immigration courts can't handle the influx of illegals that they brought into this country. And so the goal of it was to overwhelm the system, and they've done so successfully. So what you need to do now is you need to expand the immigration courts. You need to give them all the resources necessary so that they could do their jobs. What am I talking about here? Well, we need to build more immigration courts, right? Whether it's just like random buildings, like the Halloween stores that just randomly pop up. Let's just rent out a failed mall and just throw like 1,000 judges in a failed mall and then force everyone to go there for their immigration court dates. I mean, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, this is common sense, right? Like I've tried my very best. I've tried to play nice with a lot of people, but there's playing nice and then there's holding people accountable. Talk about Speaker Mike Johnson's office. They've been nice, but they haven't been helpful. And that's just an honest take on all of this. When I reach out for comment, when I reach out for help, when I reach out to understand what's going on, what we could do, what we can address, I've even asked them. Corey Mills is obviously someone right now who is being exposed by The Blaze. The Blaze has done an incredible job at going through his background. And there's a lot of questionable things that do deserve answers, and he should be answering these things. But again, I called up Speaker Johnson's office. I've asked 3 times. He's on a lot of high profile committees. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I mean, the guy was married off to his first wife by a jihadist. What are we doing here? Unfortunately, though, Speaker Johnson's office doesn't comment. Now, when you asked too, I know there was a second follow-up question on that. The 3 biggest disappointments, obviously, so far, because I get it, right? I get the fact that It's been a little over 100 days for Pam Bondi as AG, Kash Patel, and Bongino. They are my 3 disappointments. I don't know what to say. I mean, maybe there's like some grand juries that are just outside of the Washington, D.C. area that are going on right now that we just don't know about. I would hope. But keep in mind, folks, the Biden regime had over 400 J6ers arrested this time during their administration. Okay. So for some reason, Merrick Garland was able to land over 400 arrests. We're like at 0. I know Bongino, he's out here telling us to trust the process. Wait it out. We'll see soon. I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he went into this with the worst intentions. I believe he went into this with the best intentions, and I'm not going to bash his character. But I have to say, usually I hear whispers. I haven't heard any whispers. And speaking of whispers, I want to bring up the fact that Pam Bondi's office, DOJ obviously now, under Pam Bondi's leadership, constantly says that leakers will be held accountable, but they also poorly treat whistleblowers. And I think that's an important thing to mention because I'm really fed up with seeing what's going on. What I'm talking about here is this. Listen here, folks. Pam Bondi's office consistently will tell you that they will prosecute leakers, that they will subpoena journalists to give up their sources, which is obviously unconstitutional. And let's not even get nasty about it, because I could get real nasty about it. I don't even give a damn if it is like a CNN reporter who's being subpoenaed. I will support that CNN reporter. I will support that MSNBC reporter to not give up their source, because that is your job as journalist. Your job as a journalist is to protect your sources and to not give them up. And so when the DOJ comes out and they threaten to go after the leakers and then say, oh, if you have a problem internally, well, then become a whistleblower. Well, you see what happens to the whistleblower. So that's not really a very realistic idea here. So quite interesting. Of course, it looks like, let's see. It looks like we have a guest joining the show right now. Let's see, will it pop up? Owen Schroyer is joining the program today. We're very excited about this. Folks, we are using Restream for the very first time. And so we're going to try to make this work. Producer Pete off today. Hey, Owen, I think you're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Perfect. I'm looking for your reaction because we just learned that President Trump has made his way to seal this ceasefire agreement. Now, I know you're somebody who's very, very vocal on this front. You've been going viral, my friend. So I want to hear your reaction to the news of a ceasefire being reached, because this wasn't supposed to happen. I remember when Macron pitched the idea, President Trump shut it down. So what do you take of all of this?
Well, there's a lot of different angles. Let's start with one thing that has remained consistent. Israel, I don't think, has ever agreed to, or they've never followed through with a ceasefire deal in the history of ever. So we have to take that into consideration. What's interesting is the Trump administration is going all in. They've basically put all their chips on the table. It doesn't feel like an act of desperation. I feel like they wouldn't go all in unless they already knew what the result would be, but they've gone all in with Trump's post today and then J.D. Vance with the interview on Brett Baier. They're all in. And I think really we can't discount that there's a level of damage control. There's no doubt this is a level of damage control. I'd say 10 to 15% of Trump voters are gone for good, and another probably 20% hang in the balance for the midterms. Now, Trump doesn't care. He doesn't have to run for re-election anymore. So he's probably more focused on his legacy than, whatever re-election hopes other Republicans might have. So he can operate a little differently right now. But there's no doubt just getting involved in the Middle East will cost 10% of Republican voters in the midterms, maybe 15. And so they're definitely doing some damage control. And there's one thing that is just true, and I'm already seeing this. We're already seeing the spin cycle take place, which is, well, it's going to be like Soleimani. It's going to be, peace through strength and all this stuff. Well, okay, we'll see what the final result is. And I hope that's the case, but that doesn't change the fact that we got Iran strikes and I'm guessing regime change, before we got mass deportations, before we got the Epstein client list, before we got the full JFK files, before we got tax cuts. You can go down the list. So we got Middle East again before we got America first. So that's going to turn a lot of people off no matter what. And just getting involved in the Middle East is going to turn them off too. But back to what's going on. I don't know why anybody would trust Netanyahu ever. Israel has never followed through on a ceasefire, specifically in the last 2 years. But Trump is going all in. So he might have a deal done. What I think is happening right now is I think a deal has been made with Iran and with Israel. And I think they're in the middle of a regime change right now. I think that that's what's going on. Iran is being attacked by Israel right now. Now, strangely enough, despite the Trump administration coming out and announcing world peace and putting all their chips on the table and going all in on this, Iran is being a little despondent, and Israel is being silent and a little belligerent. So I don't really know. None of it has really made any sense since the beginning. If you've been trying to follow the bouncing ball, none of it makes sense. And I hope that whatever happens, we don't have to deal with it on our homeland. I hope that not a drop of American blood is shed. I think the Trump administration is obviously hoping that same thing, and that's their plan. But you just never know. I think that Americans, including the administration, tend to underestimate just the history, the emotion, the hatred even that goes into these Middle Eastern wars. And for them to go all in and declare world peace as the bombs are still being dropped, it's an interesting move, but I think we'll have a pretty clear picture in the next 12 to 24 hours about what really happened.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out more, and I think that's going to be the interesting way to kind of analyze all of this, especially as we saw today, the attacks that were supposed to be taking place on our military base in Qatar. But Owen, you mentioned the division angle in all of this, and I think that's key. Our enemies want to divide the MAGA base because it was so strong. You decided that you believe that about 10 to 20% of Trump supporters are likely going to depart, especially during the midterms. I wanted to get your take on that specifically, kind of break that down, because do you think that these are like the libertarians, or are these the day one Trump supporters, the people who were supporting him back in 2016?
You'll have all of it. I think you'll have all of it. I think the far right day one supporters are not going to be motivated to vote for Republicans, period. Trump is not going to be on the ballot, so it's going to be hard to carry a lot of that weight. Probably even 5%. Just Trump not being on the ballot, probably you're going to cost yourself 5%. But I think also, before we get into that, you have to understand that you've just given the Democrats a lot of space. You've given them a lot of space to work with now. And this is a Democrat Party that was dead. This is a Democrat Party that was desperate. This is a Democrat Party that is lost on all the issues. Well, you just gave them a winning issue, and that's the Middle East. You just gave them the winning issue. They can run on it for 2 election cycles now, and they'll pick up at least 5% of Trump supporters and voters, maybe 10. But as far as the Trump coalition is concerned, we just won a popular vote. People need to understand, and I know your audience is informed and they want to understand how things really work. They don't just want to cheerlead, and neither do you. And so that's why you're such a valuable voice in this space. But they just have this belief that they can stick their nose in the air and say, MAGA, see, Trump told you so. And it's just like, oh, like abracadabra, everything's great. No, you still have to win elections. And in order to win elections, you have to have more votes than the other side. Still how the rules work. So what you have is a Trump coalition that had a bunch of different circles, let's say, in this Venn diagram, to make a Kamala Harris joke. You have your Tulsi Gabbard supporters. You have your Tucker Carlson fans. You have your Elon Musk fans. You have your libertarians. You have some liberals. So it's a very diverse populist, nationalist, common sense coalition. You've definitely lost some Tulsi Gabbard supporters. I think you've definitely lost the far right Trump supporters that are just really far right. I don't think they're showing up. I think you've probably lost some Elon Musk fans. I think you've probably lost some Tucker Carlson fans. And I don't think you can repair that damage before the midterms. I don't think you can. And I think losing on the Middle East issue, I would now bet at this stage, the Democrats are now favored to win the House in the midterms. I think we'll get a pretty good idea. It seems like it's a different ball game, but I think you'll get a pretty good idea with what happens in the New York City governor's race tomorrow. if Zambandi or whatever his name is, Zohan Man Dandy or whatever it is, the Muslim
Yeah.
who's running for mayor against Andrew Cuomo, if he wins tomorrow, I think that's a backlash. I think that's a Middle East backlash. And I think that'll show you how much energy the Democrats really have going into the midterm. So I think that's going to be a good kind of measuring stick to this, just to see how this Middle East issue is going to provide some fuel for the Democrats in the midterms, which they had zero. They were on empty. Now you've just filled their tank. So if that happens, that's going to be a concern. But the MAGA coalition is definitely fractured, and the involvement in the Middle East, some people are not going to come back. The putting the Israel regime change war first is going to turn a lot of people off. But now again, we're just waiting to see. The Trump administration just went all in. They just went all in that this is going to lead to peace. We'll see what happens in 12 hours. We'll see if they can sell it to a lot of the base that's getting soured right now. But just sticking your nose in the air and saying you're not real MAGA. Well, okay, congratulations. Let's see where you're at in 4 years when the campaign slogan is defunct. And let's see where the Republicans are at in 4 years if they can't deliver on any of the Trump agenda and the Trump promises, unless, of course, all we see is victory in the Middle East. Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And Owen, as you just mentioned, I think a lot of Republican voters aren't going to be motivated to get out there and vote for the midterms. But I think Speaker Johnson sees right through that. And that's the reason why he's been slow rolling the Trump agenda. I mean, I remember the last time I spoke to his office, which was just a couple of weeks ago. Out of the over 150 executive orders signed by President Trump, his office only had about a dozen ready to go and hit the floor. And so for me, I think that they're just trying to run on this issue and they're hoping this is going to bring them in, will bring them over the victory line. But again, I just don't see Republican voters being motivated to head out there and to support this party that's lied to them thus far. We've given them majority in all branches. And for some reason, they're just completely failing us. And I say it's intentional.
Well, I don't think it's intentional. I think it's more ignorant than anything. I think these people are still riding high from the 2024 election. And I mean, we just have to be honest. And hey, I really get along with everybody. I really do. A lot of people have soured with my commentary on the Middle East, but that's fine. If cheerleaders want to get upset. But I think that they're just not being realistic about the situation. But everybody's selfish. Everybody's selfish and everybody's got an ego. If you've built an entire brand off of MAGA and you've built an entire personality based off of supporting Donald Trump, then I guess you really don't have much of a choice, right? I don't know what else you're going to do. And so I'm not surprised that we're seeing that. It's unfortunate because what I think we had hoped was inside of this right wing of the MAGA coalition, we've come so far since 2015. A lot of the big voices that support Trump now were never Trumpers in 2015 on record, like Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. They wrote multiple pieces saying they'd never vote for Trump. They'd never support Trump. He's a bad guy. They tried to stop Trump from getting in. And a lot of right wingers still believed the mainstream media in 2015. Well, it feels like all the ground that we've gained in defeating the brainwashing and the propaganda has just been lost. It feels like it's all just been lost with this Middle East situation. And they're like right back to where they started. They're right back to where they started, believing everything that they see on TV. But the only difference is now they just support Trump is the only difference. And I think, in a very small margin, but as we've seen, these elections can be won with 1,000 votes. So even marginal things like this can come back to haunt you. A lot of this MAGA cult, which I think we have to admit is real now. A lot of this MAGA cult, this is going to turn people off too. They're going to see this willingness to just say, "Oh yes, Trump, how high, how far, how long, whatever you say," moving the goalposts, going along with everything else. That's going to turn a lot of people off. That's going to turn a lot of people into this bitter approach, and they're going to say, "I just want to defeat that." So we've got a lot of issues to deal with before the midterms. I think about 10% of it is irreversible. I'd say 5% of it is in the air. And I'd say 20% of it you can get back easily if you get back on track.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. I was actually surprised at how quickly the base was able to divide up. But I guess the Middle East conflicts are one that's true to everyone's hearts. And so that's going to be something that's going to divide
Well,
us.
all you got to do is go back to 2015, 2016, and you'll figure out it's pretty much the exact same dividing lines. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's the same people that realized we're up against more than just an election. We're fighting with more than just a president, and it's those people that realize what's really happening versus the people that were anti-Trump in 2015, 2016, bought into the mainstream news that are now kind of right back into this mainstream uh, regurgitate conservative talking point news cycles.
Yeah. Yeah. Owen Troyer, I think you're right. Guys, you got to follow Owen on X. I'm going to put it up in the chat right now. Owen, I know you're a busy man. Your Twitter page has blown up and you have surpassed my following, which has me very frustrated, I must admit. But you do say some good things. So give him a follow on X. Owen, thank you for joining us. All right, guys. It looks like Restream is having a bit of a camera issue again. I don't know why it keeps doing this to us, but we're still here. We're still live. I'm going to be dropping this into the chat right now. So make sure you give Owen a follow. Here is his X page again, folks. And there you go. Just again, producer Pete not here today. And I have to say, we are holding on by a thread, but give Owen a follow. His tweet's blowing up, whether you agree with him or not. I mean, it's very insightful, and you got to listen to the commentary that you might not agree with at the time. Because listen, it's important to challenge your way of thinking. I don't know why everyone wants to be in this echo chamber where we all agree. I mean, I even question Israel myself. And the other day I was, bring up October 7th and again. And for some reason, and here we go again, the camera bouncing back and on off. For some reason, people just get so freaking defensive over it. They can't even have a basic conversation. I think it's disgraceful. But again, this is the world we live in. So feel free, jump on now, do that. Give him a follow. Again, if you're in the Rumble chat, let me just bring that up right now. If you're on Dear America, welcome. Folks, if you're on the Dear America chat, you got to head on over to our show page. I'm going to, again, drop it in there. Say, hey to you guys all. Give us a follow because we're doing a lot on the main page of my show. I'll also be chopping out that interview with Owen. We'll put it up there so everyone can see it in case you missed it. And then we're also on the Brandon Morello show page as well. So a lot going on. I don't understand why the camera keeps doing that. Gotta be honest with you. Don't know. I always blame the deep state hacks. I think it's probably like the safest bet at this point. So we're just going to go with that. We're just going to go with that. I don't understand. Technology, not my thing. Not my thing. But we had Tim Toolman over at a lot of Crowder over here, and he thought he fixed it. We all thought he fixed it. So we'll see. Again, folks, we're doing our live show every single day. As many of you guys know, we do a show every Thursday on Rumble, on X. It's also a podcasting show as well. So you get the audio only element to it. So you got to give me a follow on your podcasting platforms because that show is on Thursdays, but every single day on the podcasting platforms, I give you the headlines that the mainstream media won't tell you about. And we drop that headline every single day. All the headlines you need to see. I don't know why. Multitasking just really isn't for me. I know a lot of you guys at home. Hold on. I just got an email. Let's see. It says that the Oversight Committee, Comer continues to investigate the Biden administration's political abuse of the Quiet Skies program as part of the House Committee of Oversight and Government Reforms of the TSA politicization. Mondays are my thing, folks. They are investigating the Quiet Skies program. Chairman James Comer today is calling on the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to provide documents that the Biden administration refused to provide to the committee in regards to the Quiet Skies program. Folks, I'm still suing TSA over it. They won't even hand it over to me or members of Congress. Interesting enough. Very interesting. So now we have the Oversight Committee jumping on board with that as well. Yeah, welcome to the party, guys. I've been telling you about this forever. Unfortunately, this is going to be a long battle to figure out what's been going on here. People probably won't go to prison for this because that's exactly what happens all the time. Unfortunately, with us, we don't fight enough. We don't fight hard enough. I know I'm probably the only independent journalist who works independently, like not as a nonprofit, just by myself, who actually takes these three-letter agencies to court, sues them. That's why you follow me. That's why you follow me over at theindependentnewsroom.com. That is why you follow the show. I just don't know. I just don't know why technology is so complicated. One day I'll catch on. Folks, again, independentnewsroom.com is where you're going to want to go. We're going to wrap up this live stream right now. I'm going to be on the Blaze now, of course. So when you're ready, flip on over to the Blaze. I am there right now. You could watch my hit. I went to the studio. I did it live. I love going on to the Blaze. I love talking to my favorite people over there. It's Sarah Gonzalez. It's Matt Peterson. It's Jill Savage. There's so many great people over at the Blaze. So make sure you head on over right now. It is on YouTube. It is on YouTube. All right, that does it for today's Monday live stream. I don't know if I'll do Monday again. My brain's not really built for Mondays. Maybe we'll do like a Tuesday next week. I'll keep posted. That's why it's great for you to head on over to my X page. Make sure you give me a follow, Brianna Morella. That's where you find me. Stone Bryson, thank you for subscribing to me on X. I greatly appreciate it. We look forward to having you guys back here on Thursday. I'm working on a great lineup. And so I hope you guys join me, of course. If you haven't done so already, again, independentnewsroom.com. Thank you all for jumping on the live stream. Thank you for bearing with me, of course. We'll catch you here on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.